Scott, the reason I'm doing this filming is because I felt when Glenn got the diagnosis that I was in an isolation booth. And I would like to make it easier for people who get that diagnosis because it's devastating. It's, as my husband said, did I die? It's a loss of self. It's a foggy brain. There are the symptoms, and then it isn't losing your car keys. It's not knowing what your car keys are for. Mm-hmm. How do you help someone with that diagnosis, the caregiver? How do you help the family? How do you help the patient? Do they automatically go to a visiting nurse association such as Lake Sunapee, or what do we do?
Well, with the visiting nurses, a lot of times what happens is people kind of come in and out of our care as the disease progresses because they may have other complications from the disease. They're more likely to fall. They're more likely to have pneumonia. So people with Alzheimer's do tend to come in and out of our home care division. The other thing that they come to the visiting nurses for is what we call chronic care or long-term care, where people go in the house for blocks of time, to provide either hands-on care or just supervision and companionship. And I think that's very necessary for a caregiver or a family of somebody suffering from the disease, because as we said before, it's a 24/7, 365 day a year illness, and you really have to be like a sentry on guard and ready, for whatever comes your way, whether it's wandering or aggressive behavior. So the best way that I think the best way for a family who, when you first receive that diagnosis, I think the first thing you do is I would recommend you go to the web, and you can go to alzheimers.org. It's alz.org. It's a tremendous resource. There's all sorts of information on both Alzheimer's and dementia, and it's written in plain language. It's not written in med speak. I would say that's the first step. The second step would be to look and see what your local resources are. Alzheimers.org has chapters throughout this country where caregivers get together and support each other. And I think that's very, very important, because you have somebody who's speaking your language. I can offer you support and I can offer you empathy, but I have never cared for anybody with Alzheimer's, so I can't really offer you advice. And in a sense, I'm not a kindred spirit as I would be if my dad had Alzheimer's and I was taking care of him. So it's very important to get familiar with the disease initially, and to get connected with a caregiver support group. Now, our VNA has a local caregiver support group as well, and most of the people who attend that are caregivers for people with Alzheimer's.